So we
Yeah.
look at first we're talking about the naira. That's been getting a lot of I don't know backlash and all. People have been complaining about the naira now. So want to probably just look into it and see why the naira is doing so bad and why
Yeah.
it sucks.
Actually, Zion, you know what? Do something. Check out Naira to dollar value on Google. Let's see what they say.
Okay,
Very
that's
interesting.
the recent
Right?
one. Okay, the
No,
recent
no, no.
naira to dollar.
Let's see what Google thinks the price of Naira is, or what CBN
Okay,
wants
so
us
let
to
me type
believe the
it.
price
What
of
is the
the dollar.
that's naira to dollar ratio?
Yeah.
Naira to dollar. Huh. This is very 436
Wow.
naira.
Yeah.
That's
That's
a
very
joke.
interesting. No. It's not a joke. That's awesome. Like,
436 naira to dollar.
Like you got $1 for 400 for last month or when? Like, that must be true. Like, if it's on Google, is it not true? Don't you get what I mean? It's like,
Oh, okay.
is there something wrong here? Because the last time I bought dollar, it was 420. Are we
When
joking?
was the last
It
time
looks
you bought
like-
dollar?
it
When
looks
was the last
like-
time you
yeah,
bought dollar?
it
How
looks
many
like some
how many
people
decades ago did you buy dollar? At 420.
420. Oh, it's not even 420 anymore, right? That was last month. It's 440 or something.
Huh.
So in case you guys haven't noticed, the dollar is on a great decline. So actually, we were looking at a graph yesterday, and then it was like the naira is going to the moon. But you know, the funny thing was going to the moon in the opposite direction because we were looking at it against the dollar.
Okay.
So it's going like this, but really it's really going like this.
Yeah.
If you
It's coming
plot it the other way
coming
around.
down.
But you know what is funny is that like CBN are really going aggressive on, and people don't know this because it's weird, right? I think in 2020 or so when I was yelling about this stuff, right? The limit on a Naira card was about $500. You know this?
Yes, $500. Yes.
Then a year later, they changed it to 100.
I think now it's 20.
Right now, early June or April, they changed it to 20.
$20.
Right?
That's the amount of dollars you can spend in a month.
Yeah. And like people are not talking about this because this really pisses me off. Nobody cares, right? But now it's literally zero because they just reject your card, even though it's officially 20, right? It's zero because banks they will just reject your card. So what the CBN is trying to do is that like
Try to clamp down.
basically they've doubled their money supply. They've printed so in 2022, right, before the pandemic, I don't remember the exact value of what our money supply was, which is the M2, which is like the circulating
That's
naira.
2019. That's in
2020,
20.
right before the pandemic, right? If you can check, it was
I'll check that now.
maybe 20 trillion naira was in circulation. But anyways, I'm not sure about the exact value, but just within those 2 years, they've doubled the money supply to like 40 trillion or so. So they basically doubled the money supply in 2 years.
Huh.
So when you think about it, the M2 supply, since Naira existed, I don't know when Naira was first issued, maybe 1962, who knows? But they doubled the money supply in
1972.
2 years. Right. So we know most of this is the CBN fault, right? They stimulated the economy. I know the weird thing about this, right? When other countries stimulate their economy, which is a really bad...
No, it's only
Let's not say it's a
very
bad
idea.
stuff.
It's just a bad idea, actually.
Yeah, you can
No,
say it's a bad idea, but
they actually mean well, but then it doesn't end well.
I mean, they know the way it's going to end, right? What they are trying to achieve is to temporarily stimulate the economy. Like, it's an artificial stimulus onto the economy to make the economy move. But eventually, you'll be a correction. But you know, this is the difference between Nigeria, when Nigeria stimulates the economy. So CBN there was a complaint. It was like a power complaint. They took them to court to seize one of their funds. So what happens was when the CBN released some funds, like the stimulated economy, to release some funds for the power complaints, those guys basically just siphoned the money into their private companies.
Same guy you see this from.
No, literally, like, they were trying to stimulate that particular sector of the economy, right?
That's power sector.
Yeah. So some guys, they just basically siphoned the funds to like their private account. They moved it up and down.
Huh.
So you see the difference between Nigeria, because Nigeria is so corrupt that even though you try to stimulate the economy, which is technically a bad policy to do, let's not just say it's bad, it's good temporarily. If you even try to do that, like, it's not end up well because the money will just, like, so the funny thing is this.
Getting back into the
Yeah. The funny thing is those guys that they stimulate because they just printed Naira, right? They stimulated the economy with Naira. Those guys, what they end up doing with that money is they take that money that you just printed from thin air and they used to start buying dollar, which will increase the pressure on
the demand is going to be the pressure. The demand side is going to be quite high. So it's
right. So So
dollar.
literally, what they are. So CBN is trying to crack down on people being able to use the dollar. But like the only people it's affecting is just the average person.
Yeah.
Right? And the average person does not care, which is really
No,
thing
it
that
doesn't
angers
matter whether
me.
or not the average person care or not. It gets back to bite them in their butt because once the naira to dollar is shit, then things become more
The
expensive.
average person is always going to be beaten in every way possible. But it's just the fact that they're ignorant about it because they would blame Buhari at the end of the day and they would try
Blame
to
the
vote
government.
Obi.
Everybody blames
Yeah. It's just a low level thinking. They didn't even understand what is actually happening. It's like, so now basically, like, a NAIRA card is useless.
It is. It is. Like, I tried buying a domain. Was not last week because it was very frustrating. I spent
Is that good
like
idea?
4 hours. I felt that probably the what I was doing was like good idea sucked. Then I was just moving and it occurred to me that actually the issue wasn't with them, but because it was a NAIRA card. And so I think I spoke to you. Then you said that the limit of dollar NAIRA card is like $20, but they're high. What I was going to buy was even lesser than 20, but it doesn't even work.
Interesting.
Doesn't even work. I
So
don't know.
you think about it this way that basically the way I was telling to Daniel was this, right? Before, like, if as they are trying to like excuse, basically what they're trying to do is that they don't want people to basically be able to hold dollar.
Yes.
Yeah. Which is interesting because first, if I was even like, I don't even want to hold the dollar myself because dollar is like, okay, this is the issue, right? I think you had the question is that why is the naira so bad? I think that was the question.
Yeah, that's the question. Why is naira so bad?
But I was like, that question is so flawed because the real question is why are fiat currency so bad? Because it's not as if the dollar is that good,
Yeah,
right? The dollar is also inflating at 9% or something like that every year, right? That's also like a bag of shit. But you have to realize that like since everything's pegged against the dollar, things are getting crushed. Right, so it's like the naira is getting infinitely crushed, even though what is pegged against is also getting crushed. Should we move on to the next topic? Or should we continue?
Should continue. So